Aw, yeah, it's happening. Oh yeah, okay, we got cherry blossoms this way. Hello, Facebook. It is Reid from readaboutsex.com, and I have special guests today. But first, I just have to apologize for I actually missed the Facebook Live yesterday because I was at a funeral and was dealing with feelings, and it just slipped my mind. So I apologize. Tomorrow I'll probably talk about the languages of apology, but I have more important things to talk about because we have Stella and we have Angie here today. So tell the Facebook people, as you chime in, leave a comment from where you're watching from. Who are you two? Tell us.
Hi, I'm Angie. I'm a sex therapist here in Portland. You can find me at connectivesextherapy.com.
Connectivesextherapy.com. And?
Hi, I'm Stella Harris. I'm a sex educator and coach in Portland, Oregon, and you can find me at stellaharris.net.
Whoop whoop! And we've had Stella on before on a past video, but Angie, this is your Facebook Live cherry.
It's my premiere. I'm excited.
It's your premiere. And we were doing a little co-working session at a coffee shop. What's the coffee shop place?
Case Study.
Case Study Coffee in Portland, and we were talking about slut problems. Super slut problems. And so I'm like, we have to Facebook Live about this. So if you are interested in just the title alone, hit some emoticons, make it rain for Stella and Angie, and then we will talk about the slut problem. So what were you talking about before I joined you in? If you want to share. See, look at all the emoticons.
Everyone wants
to
hear about our slut problems.
Well, so Stella and I both date openly in Portland.
We're going to go this way because there's cherry blossoms.
It's pretty. As poly, kinky, slutty, sex-positive people, we really like to seek out lots of fun sex adventures. And what that means is we recently discovered that we had been encountering two of the same people. And we were receiving different messages from them and trying to interpret what does this mean and how does this relate to what we're looking for in terms of sexuality and what kind of partners are we seeking and how do we create the kind of dynamics that we want but also can still seek out all the sluttiness we seek.
And then just hang on here, we're going to stop. Look at those beautiful cherry blossoms, everyone. This is our little shot. Say hi. All right, photo up, go. Okay, keep going. Stella?
Yeah, so that's sort of the gist of it. We were wondering how do we express to people that we're actually okay with ongoing casual sex in a culture where people feel like they need to behave as though it's leading to a relationship for people to be open to having sex.
Yeah.
So what we were discussing was how do we sort of train sex-positive, slut-positive partners.
Yeah. Well, I will share that. We'll go this way. The thing that I ran into that we were talking about at the coffee shop was when I first started coming out as poly, or not even before that. It was before the poly piece where I was just exploring my promiscuity. Like, we don't have healthy role models in our culture for healthy promiscuity. So we're not supposed to be doing that, even though as a cisgendered man, like, it's okay for me to sow my oats. But if I was feeling joy and liking sleeping with you casually, there wasn't a context for it. So it must mean that I like you, which must mean we need to date exclusively. There wasn't it's okay for me to love sleeping with you and love keeping it casual. Like, there wasn't a context for me, and my joy and my being a decent human being, being nice to people, when I was dating people who weren't slutty, we would develop feelings for each other, which meant we must start making it more serious. So there wasn't a way to be casual. Oh, we're walking by a school now? Okay, turn around. We're walking by the street. There might be children, so keep going. And we have to talk out when it's windy.
That's another slut problem.
Yeah, so...
Walking by children.
But again, it was hard to navigate, and then my big breakthrough was when I realized for me and owned that I was slutty. I started dating or sleeping with other sluts. And then we were like, oh my God, like, I have that problem too.
Yeah. I mean, I think though, until we create the slut network, I mean, there's not really a a dating
The
site
Slut Network.
just for sex positive sluts that we know we can trust and will be honest.
Where did you guys meet? We met on
Right?
slut.com.
I mean, if someone wants to create that, I'm all for it. But, until we have that, we end up encountering a lot of people that we think we're being really clear and honest. I can say on a very first date, I'm looking for casual sex. I don't want a relationship. I'm looking for ongoing, consistent, predictable, reliable, communicative sexual encounters with you, and I care about you as a person, but that's all I'm looking for. And people are like, great, that's awesome, let's do that. And then, of course, it always ends up being something else. So, like the two people we were discussing, both ended up ghosting me and then reaching out to Stella to seek the same thing that I was providing for them.
Yeah.
Which is cool because Stella has different things to offer. But they never actually told me they were done with that for me.
Uh-huh. We're going to walk down the same street because it's so beautiful with the trees.
Yay.
So for you, Stella, like what have you noticed dating people who are, I'm going to say muggles, air quotes, like Harry Potter, like non-sorcery, non-magic people, but like if we assume like in our category as people who like casual sex, but don't take our casual sex casually, which I jokingly refer to like that's what a slut is to me, right? What are the problems or the challenges you're running into dating people who might not really be slutty? Like they're trying casual sex, but maybe it doesn't make them happy.
Right. I feel like I encounter more of the people who will say that they're interested in poly, but really they're more in a dating around until they find something serious or monogamous phase. And so I've had a lot of people phase in and out with that, or in a dating around until they find someone else place. Even when people want what Angie was talking about, the ongoing predictable casual sex, I think most of the muggles, as you say, don't know that that is a valid option, that they're allowed to ask for and that they're allowed to want. Even if we model that that's what we want.
And that we really exist. We're not like, we aren't actually unicorns. There are people out there who can have clearly negotiated, ongoing casual sex that exists.
Well, and there is even ebb and flows to that. Like another slut problem that I run into is people think that I literally sleep with everybody on the planet, which would be an amazing feat, actually, because there's a lot of people on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. So many holes, and so little time. But the challenge is when I choose not to sleep with somebody, they think they're broken or that they did something wrong.
Sure.
Because if they did something right, then of course Reid would sleep with me because Reid sleeps with everybody. Right? So there's that misunderstanding. And I'm still looking for a name for that.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be a German word for that explains that thing. But again, like it's interesting because like that's something that I'm having to deal with. And even like with other sluts, we know that sometimes we just don't want to sleep with you. Just because you're a musician and I'm a musician doesn't mean we automatically want to jam and cut a record. So, but again, like when I talk to sluts about that, we kind of get it because we're like, oh yeah, of course there are times when I don't want to sleep with somebody. Like, but in the muggle world, well, if you're slutty, then you must want to sleep with me. Duh. And I'm like, oh, it's actually more complex than that.
Yeah, I had an experience recently of turning down somebody at a party and feeling a lot of guilt around that because I do play with a lot of people and then feeling like it's almost harder to say no if people have that expectation. If you're an easy yes, or that's the assumption and then you're a no for something, even though I teach people to say no all the time.
Yeah.
It was interesting to find a place where I felt
We're going to turn around again.
a little nervous about that.
Well, and because again, like
Logistics.
ultimately, it seems like, with the people at least I'm attracted to and hang out with, like we actually don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Right.
But we don't want to have to do, like there's as much pressure on us to be something when you're slutty as there are for people who are trying not to be slutty or something. I mean, it just pressure, like the dynamics of social pressure and people misunderstanding you or not understanding you, like those are there regardless of how you identify. Like that's just like, there's always some weird seventh grader version of awkwardness going on.
That speaks to this idea though also, how can we make our slut community more receptive to any answer and more feedback? Like we talked about, could you actually say to someone, you're great and I really loved having sex with you. I've got these 3 other great people right now in my life that I want to have sex with instead. Does not mean that you're invalid or you're not attractive or you're not very fuckable. It just means that I'm making these other choices and I want to tell you that and respect you. And can we hear that from each other?
Well, and I've had people who wanted, this is a whole other topic for another conversation, right? Leave emoticons if any of this is interesting. But because this is more edgy for me to talk about, right? Because I'm assuming that I'm the only person struggling with this, and that my advice isn't useful for anybody. And now Reid's just using his Facebook Live to process. But like, so I am asking for like emoticons if any of this stuff is interesting or useful to you, because I have my anxieties about talking about it. Like it's not like we stop having our awkward, insecure moments. I think as sluts, it's that we honor that we have those things and can talk about them that gives us some of our superpowers, if we have superpowers at all.
Right.
And for those of you who are leaving comments, I love it. I can't read from this distance with my eyesight, so I'll answer your questions and try to respond when we get back inside. But keep leaving comments, please, please, please.
And you can message us directly too. You can add us and
Yeah, and you can find Angie and Stella through, I'll leave them in the links in the comments. So the other thing is, for me, I've got, for those of you who don't know, if you go to readaboutsex.com/protocols, you can download a little check sheet about my casual sex protocols, or what I call slut protocols, which is how to have casual sex mindfully and not fall in love before you want to fall in love. So do you two have struggles with people imprinting on you and
I have
glomming
in
on?
fact quoted you and sent people to that link as part of my partner training program.
Partner training program?
Absolutely, so that has been very useful.
they get the elevator speech and then they get the protocol sheet.
The safer sex elevator speech and then the protocol
That's the
sheets.
standard.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Because it is, when people find that shiny new thing, the inclination is you're texting all day, you're seeing each other 2 or 3 days in a row, and then even if you thought you wanted something casual, you get all the brain chemicals and you have the attachment, and then you got yourself a problem if that's not what either of you has space for.
Sure. And do you feel like, this is my theory, but I have a theory that has not been researched at all, about people who are good at casual sex, like from a slut perspective, like that we actually might imprint differently.
Yeah.
And that's just my theory, because it's, for me, I can feel myself falling in love with people, but it's not ruining me
Right.
Sure.
in this, like, I can't think about them, I can't stop thinking about them, so I'm always curious if it just feels like I just imprint differently, or my triggers might be differently. I don't know, I'm curious about your thoughts on that.
I think it's one of the reasons that the word casual is a little bit of a misnomer, because I absolutely develop strong feelings for people, and just for me it doesn't mean that they have to be my one and only, or that I have to see them every day. I can have strong feelings and see someone every couple of months, and that's still okay, and I still feel all warm and fuzzy about it.
Got it.
Well, I think my imprinting is more like it takes different styles. So I can imprint on someone and we're like, I want to see you once a month at a sex party, and it's amazing, and we're great friends.
Turn around one more time.
And it's very fulfilling. So the imprinting can take different forms. It doesn't mean that I have this connection with someone and you need to be my everything as a result.
Yeah.
But you can take different forms in my life, and it's really meaningful still.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts? This was an interesting conversation. I hope you enjoyed our guest stars today. Where can people find you again?
On Facebook, I'm Angie Gunn. My website, otherwise, connectivesextherapy.com.
Connectivesextherapy.com.
Stella Harris on stellaharris.net.
.net. Any parting?
We need to start the Sluts Research Project.
The Slut Research Project? Who's going to write us a grant for this?
We need this.
Yeah, just go out there and be honest and courageous and tell people what you want.
So here's the final question. I'm not going to make any assumptions, even though I might have information. But if you were looking to date, or hook up, or whatever word you're going to use, with people out there of whatever gender, what advice would you like to give the people out there who don't know if they're a slut or not yet, are looking for casual sex, and are just like, and maybe will happen upon you two out on the interwebs or on the dating apps. Like what advice, like one or two bits of advice for people who are considering dating empowered, casually savvy sexual human beings?
I think first for me, it's being able to challenge your sexual programming. So what assumptions do you have about who you need to be and expectations around what your relationships and your sex needs to look like? And be able to really question that for yourself and figure out, well, how would you set your own expectations instead of following some other pattern that you're supposed to follow? And what would it be like to actually seek the kind of sex that you want, regardless of relationship patterns? And knowing that that's valid, seeking the sex itself is valid. It doesn't mean you're a bad person or that you don't have morals or you don't have the ability to still be in healthy relationships outside of that.
Great.
And I would just say finding that line where you can be bold and forthright, but still be respectful. So I think it's totally fine to say, I've seen you around, I think you're really interesting, I'm wondering if you would like to negotiate play sometime, rather than launching into naked pictures or descriptions of sex acts, just assuming that someone, because they're a slut, they're going to want this.
So
For sure.
building some sort of relatedness.
Yeah.
And
Be
we'll
my
go this
friend
way.
first.
Yeah. Treat
Yeah.
us like human beings, ladies and gentlemen.
Sluts are people.
Sluts are people too.
That's something.
And then I'll just say, if you haven't started going down this rabbit hole of casual sex, please download the casual sex protocols and go to readaboutsex.com/protocols. And then if you haven't familiarized yourself with the Safer Sex Elevator speech, check that out. And that's at readaboutsex.com/elevator. Because for me, if you want to hit on me, just come up to me and be like, I've downloaded your shit, Reid. And here's what I think's missing from the slut protocols, or I challenge you, engage me because I'm also a sapiosexual. But it's very interesting when people use the things I needed to create for myself, and then they start on a conversation because I use those as assessment tools.
Yeah.
So if you're already geeking out on these things and you have thoughts and opinions, that might be the easiest way to get into my pants. Because
Or to
now,
say
or to say hi, but again, I'm really curious, and I feel safer playing with people who've already been curious for themselves
Sure.
and are figuring out what's a good fit for them. Yeah.
Absolutely. We like sex geeks.
We like sex geeks. All right, everybody. Thanks for being on our walk. Thank you for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having us.
Let's some emoticons as we leave, so that we can reinforce Facebook Live for Angie.
I'm gonna try some. We'll do
You're gonna try some?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see.
So thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. And I'm so sorry that I missed yesterday's Facebook Live. Look at those emoticons.
Aww.
Look at them making it rain. All right, bye, everybody. Mwah. From Portland.